I'm Troy Charles, and here are your top stories. Thunder Bay's Southbridge Roseview long-term care home is reporting a death from COVID-19 as an outbreak of the disease continues to spread to more residents and staff at the facility. It's not immediately clear whether the death corresponds to the COVID-related death announced earlier in the week by Thunder Bay's Regional Hospital or if it involves a separate individual. The COVID-19 outbreak at Roseview has continued to grow, with 18 residents and 6 staff now confirmed positive, according to the home's website. That's up from totals of 16 residents and 4 staff reported on Thursday. And the Thunder Bay District Health Unit announced 6 new confirmed cases of COVID-19 today. One of those cases is located on a First Nation in the health unit's territory. All new cases are self-isolating. November has been a busy month for the health unit. Multiple COVID outbreaks around the city have caused them to kick their contact tracing procedures into full gear. Outbreaks at the aforementioned Southbridge Roseview long-term care home, adult teen challenge living centers, and local pickleball centers have cast a large COVID shadow over the city. Medical Officer of Health Dr. Janet DeMille has said that through contact tracing of the outbreaks, they have had at one time about 300 possibly infected people isolating at home. In a video release this past week, DeMille gave more insight behind the health unit's strategy when dealing with the outbreaks.
We identify people who might be at risk, who might have already been exposed to that virus and who may actually be infected. And we get them to isolate at home immediately. By isolating at home, this significantly limits their contact with other people to whom they could transmit the virus. In a case of a facility or a setting where people live, we have other ways of reducing the spread within that setting, with the intention, again, of reducing those interactions between people that can lead to the spread of the virus.
Today, there are 67 active cases of COVID-19 in the Thunder Bay District after topping 80 earlier in the week. Aside from an initial 4 cases in the Nipigon area at the beginning of the pandemic, most cases of COVID-19 have been localized within the city of Thunder Bay and the immediate surrounding area. However, this past week it was announced that the town of Marathon had its first recorded case. At the onset of the pandemic, the municipality, like others in the Northwest, went to great lengths to keep the virus out of the community, and Marathon was quite successful at keeping the virus at bay. There are several major projects underway in the Marathon area right now, including the construction of the East-West Tie, which has brought in hundreds of workers to the town. Mayor Rick Dumas says while many were surprised by the case, he admits that despite their protective measures, COVID-19 making an appearance in the community was only a matter of time. He adds the case could have an effect on nearby Barrick-Hemlo mine.
They're concerned and they're doing contact tracing with fellow workers and other people that the individual has come in contact with. So the Thunder Bay District Health Unit is doing all the right things in regards to contact tracing, giving us reports back, working with the community.
Been identified as close contacts of the individual, and all 7 are self-isolating. In a release from Barrick, the company says it has received PCR rapid testing kits for use on employees, and operations at the mine have not been affected. Sticking with COVID, the situation in the United States continues to barrel out of control, and with recent travel numbers over the Thanksgiving holiday, it would seem the country is in for a rough December and beyond. ABC's Trevor Alt has the details.
Another 1 million more infections added in the past 6 days, bringing the total number of confirmed cases above 13 million. But a report from a CDC researcher says the actual total may be as much as 8 times higher.
All but one of these patients have COVID on this unit. It's a 13-bed unit, and we are completely full up here.
Officials hoping to slow the rampant pace of the virus are rolling out major new restrictions. Los Angeles is now issuing another stay-at-home order, a 3-week ban on gathering with anyone who doesn't live with you. In Washington state's Snohomish County, the site of America's first confirmed case, first responders say they're receiving far more COVID calls now than ever before.
The things that we're used to expecting from your first responders wouldn't happen if things continued to spiral out of control.
And on the eve of what's expected to be the busiest travel day of the year, officials are seriously concerned Thanksgiving gatherings are going to amplify an already overwhelming problem.
I would say if you have had one of those gatherings yesterday that you shouldn't send your kids to school next week.
And while Black Friday crowds are noticeably down from years past, there are still plenty of shoppers out there potentially ramping up dangerous viral spread.
That, again, is a very risky proposition. We have a lot of people on top of each other getting those Black Friday specials.
This week, nearly half the U.S., 24 states, set new record highs for hospitalizations. Healthcare workers like Florida nurse Teresa Puello say if we stay disciplined, there's hope for a light at the end of the tunnel.
I think that we will wake up one day when this is all behind us and we will be more grateful and more thankful for what we have.
Trevor Ault, ABC News, New York.
A new facility on a First Nation in Manitoulin Island is providing a made-in-Canada solution to meet the soaring demand for personal protective equipment. The PPE production facility is producing medical-grade masks that are being distributed all over the country. CTV's Alana Everson has that story.
This medical-grade mask manufacturing facility has created 50 new full-time jobs in Wikwemikong.
Through a lot of our strategic planning discussions on how to create economic development here in Wikwemikong, we've aspired to create an industrial park, and as the old adage goes, if you build it, they'll come.
The PPE production facility is the result of a partnership between Wikwemikong, First Nation Procurement Inc., and DentX Canada.
We're making the 3-ply surgical masks here now, and that's basically what they're making behind me there. And in 2 weeks, they will be able to be making the N95s here. So the N95 machines are here, they're just being calibrated, and we're doing our final testings of the mask still.
The bottom line is Indigenous people are contributing towards the protection of all Canadians. And I think it's through the cross-cultural partnerships that we have that we're celebrating today that we'll see more industry taking notice of First Nations communities.
A second mask-making facility will soon be opening on the Sagamok First Nation to meet the high demand for masks to protect people during the pandemic.
It's so awesome to see such a huge business like this on First Nation communities. And, I want to thank and congratulate the partners who partnered up with Wikwemikong to have the trust to bring such a huge business onto First Nation land.
The chief of Wikwemikong says the new facility is another step towards the goal the territory has to become more economically independent and self-reliant. Alana Everson, CTV News.
The Integrity Commissioner for Emo has come out with their findings following a complaint regarding a Conflict of Interest Act violation by Mayor Harold McQuaker. Adam Riley reports.
It is alleged Emo Mayor Harold McQuaker did not declare a pecuniary interest regarding a tender that was won by his son in May of this year. Part of the investigation included audio recordings from 3 sessions of council that were held via Zoom. However, the investigation discovered that all 3 audio files were not complete and did not record the entire session. The report concludes that while McQuaker did have a pecuniary interest, and there was no written statement by McQuaker prior to the meeting declaring a conflict, there was no evidence that would substantiate any wrongdoing to influencing the vote, and McQuaker did not participate in the vote, nor was there any discussion by council on the tender. However, in closing, the Integrity Commissioner's report states that a minor reprimand is warranted and made several recommendations, including that the mayor files a written declaration, the mayor undertake a refresher on the Municipal Conflict of Interest Act, the township establish a registry in accordance with the MCIA, and optionally, that all members of council participate in an educational refresher. Adam Riley, TBT News.
The fundraising committee for Atikokan's Aspen Court is pushing hard on a major funding campaign for the holidays. Construction of Aspen Court began last month, and while the building is bought and paid for, the items on the inside, such as stoves, refrigerators, washers, and dryers, are not. Executive Director of Community Living Atikokan, Jim Turner, says a campaign to raise the necessary funds is well underway. While several businesses have provided a boost already, a separate Buy a Brick campaign is getting a holiday enhancement.
And what we're doing is launching specifically the Buy a Brick for the holidays. And we're asking people, businesses, employers to buy a brick for themselves, for their family, for their employees, or in memory of somebody. And that way, their name will be on the building as we complete the Aspen Court Senior Living Complex.
Turner is hoping to raise $10,000 through the campaign. Bricks are $100 each and can be purchased by going to the webpage for Community Living Atikokan. Construction on Aspen Court is expected to be completed by late 2021. And for the second straight year, city residents won't be taking the plunge into the freezing waters of Lake Superior. The Thunder Bay Polar Bear Plunge has been canceled for 2021 due to restrictions surrounding COVID-19. With COVID cases rising in the city and gathering restrictions still in place, organizers decided the Polar Bear Plunge was not possible to hold in 2021, leaving an $80,000 deficit for 4 local charities. Charities include Roots to Harvest, Special Olympics Thunder Bay, CNIB Thunder Bay, and ALS Canada. Those looking to support the charities can visit their websites and social media pages. Organizers are hopeful the Polar Bear Plunge will return in 2022. Tough news there, Mike. I mean, I got to ask, have you participated in a plunge before?
Nope.
Never done it?
Never will.
Never will.
That sounds for a great cause, yeah, but
You're happy they're standing on the sidelines with your hot cocoa.
Absolutely. I'll cheer them on. Yeah,
what do you got coming up in sports?
Local. You know, the Stars and Walleye kicking off the SIJHL season, and the game didn't go quite as, the previous 4 exhibition games had gone. Those highlights after the break.